What is up, everyone? Circon here, bringing you guys another review here of one of the tanks that got buffed in 1.2. I made like four or so videos about some of the new tanks or old tanks that got buffed again. The limited matchmaking tanks got buffed, and most of these I actually already free marked, so I won't be playing them myself. So I figure, you know what? I already free marked them when they were worse. I might as well still do a review on them. Funnily enough, though, the tank of today is the 112, and I haven't actually free marked this yet. I might do it in the future, but I figured, you know what, I'll just get a video out there because I have played it. And yeah, let's just get right into it, shall we? So it got buffed a little bit. All right, it's nothing super major. You can see here the differences. Nothing in mobility or armor or stuff like that, and even the weaponry only got a little bit buffed, right? So we have 186 pen instead of 175. It shoots a little bit faster, and this is a pretty significant one where the aiming time went from basically 2.3 to 2.9. That is actually a fairly big difference, and the dispersion went from 44 to 42. Um, it's pretty decent of a buff. Is it enough? I think if it gets decent matchmaking, it's just a little bit better than it used to be. If it gets really bad matchmaking, it's still pretty bad. I do like the fact that we have a bit more pen, because 175 is very tier 7 esque to me, and 186 will help you pen some of the for example, an IS at tier 7. You will pen those a little bit easily, a little bit more easily, because like just the RNG will screw you over a little bit less. To pen those things. Like I said, there's nothing with armor or anything that got changed. If you fully kit it out the way I would do it, so you get Brothers in Arms and all of that, you just get optics, vert snaps, and gun rammer. And then with Brothers in Arms, recon, and situational awareness, you can get your fuel range up to slightly above like the minimum that you'd want to get, which is 445. So we get 448. I would not recommend running a food consumable on this, and better just go with the big fire extinguisher. Because if I don't remember, as I remember, it does have a frontal fire. I think it still has this, and even if it didn't, I think I got set on fire so many times in this tank and similar tanks towards it. There's also like a premium version or something of this, or was it the WZ111, which has like a similar issue where the front is like ammo rack and fire. So I think you're better off just running a big fire extinguisher than food, because you can still get the full fuel range, because your base fuel range is 380, which is actually pretty nice for a heavy at tier 8. 380 is pretty good, right? And funnily enough, once you compare this to a T-44 free, which has a similar gun, of course, it has slightly better stats in the gun, in like the DPM department, but it has slightly worse gun stats, whilst the gun handling on the move in tank traverse is a lot worse, but on turret traverse is actually the same. And it has 6 degrees gun pressure instead of 6.5. But as you can see, some of the forward speed and stuff is not that much worse than the medium. And yeah, sure, your power to weight is worse, but also by not that much. Terrain assists are, a little bit better as well. So all in all, the T-43 is a faster tank, but I think this 112 might actually be a better tank than the T-44 free, even at being a medium, just because the hull arm is 120 now. It's actually pretty good, and it has good turret armor as well, while still maintaining 60 gun depression. Sure, 6.5 is a little bit better, but it is what it is. And if you look at the armor model, you'll see that it's about 250 effective in the upper plate with no real weak spots, because it's just a flat angle. It's not a pike nose like the WZ Juan. And then the lower plate, I think at some point also got buffed and is now around like 200. So if you're fighting an IS, like a tier 7 heavy, and almost every medium in the game at tier 7 or tier 6, they cannot go through you frontally without gold ammo. So that's pretty good. And, it is limited matchmaking tank. So, and maybe with the matchmaking changes that are on the way at some point, hopefully sooner than later, this thing will see more tier 7s and maybe some tier 6s than it does currently. Because currently, like I said in all the other videos, you will likely be in 10-5 matchmaking against tier 9s a whole lot more than you will see tier 6 or 7s. But the armor is, just pretty good. And because the gun sets are slightly worse than the T-44 free, but you can actually peek without getting shot to shit. is actually very nice. So I actually think this tank is just a straight up better tank than the T44 free nowadays, even after the buffs to the T44 free. So yeah. Anyway, with all of that said, let's just go towards the replay. It's not my own replay. I got it off the replay site. It's a 1.2 replay, so it is the freshly buffed one. And we are here on Himmelsdorf. We're following Del Pietro, who uploaded to the What Replay site. So we got 10-5 matchmaking, where we are the top tier, which is, you know, like I said, very nice matchmaking. And as you can see, he's actually not rocking the full Fury range, so he probably doesn't have Brothers in Arms. It would be my guess, and maybe not one of the Fury range skills. So keep that in mind. He probably doesn't even have the Brothers in Arms, which is kind of nice, because then you can also see that how it performs while it isn't fully kitted out yet. So yeah, it's still gonna be derpy shots, of course, especially when not fully aimed. And this super Persian enemy team is in the middle of the map, so he can just stay hold down. And even though your lower plate is fairly strong for a lower plate, as far as those things go, this thing hold down is just a beast. The only thing you have to be really careful of is that people will try and aim for these cupolas, and they will get bent, right? These are not impossible pens, so you kind of need to wiggle in between shots and stuff. But you can kind of make it work, and hopefully this replay, even though it's not mine, will still make the point come across about how the tank plays, basically. So we're bouncing that. The Tiger one actually penned us, and I think he just shot us in the. Where did he shoot us? Oh, that's an odd pen by the Tiger one. I wonder where he hit us. Maybe it was the side. But yeah, he is bouncing off the turret front. That super Pershing is still in the middle of the map for some reason, and he's actually aiming towards the hill, giving us the side of his turret. So he gets shot in the side, and the Tiger one, which is one of the higher pen tier 7s, is very much struggling against us. And I think he basically needs to hit, like I said, the commander Cupolas. But I don't know what that super Pershing is doing. I've never seen that. That's so crazy to me. And of course on Banana Street, they're still fighting with KB5s against Lovis and Oni, so that's gonna take quite a while. Oh, again, this Tiger. That was a rangefinder. Ooh, yeah, see, he got right there. Oh my god, that's an awkward pen. And the artillery also hits us here. And, you know, this is kind of an awkward spot, because this is one of the open spots where artillery that is probably in the corner of, like, what is it, K1, where the SU was last spotted. RT is probably there as well, so I think he has to move soon. Because I think that artillery basically has clear shots. And there we go. The next reload also goes into him. And we're now on, you know, below half health already. We did a little bit of damage, 1500. He bounced about 1000. I think it was mostly Tiger shot. I don't think the super Pershing ever even bothered. And this is kind of funny because, like, so the super Pershing is dead. Banana Street is still fighting, but there doesn't seem to be anyone on the hill here because the Progetto, the T-71 and stuff would have spotted people on the hill. So he moves across the middle of the map, pretty much in the middle of the game, which is a bit of a bold move. And he gets a really lucky shot against the Comet turret there. Extremely lucky. But the Comet is gonna have severe issues spending this. He basically needs golds for the lower plate, and even then it's gonna be awkward because it's such a low caliber gun. But he puts another one into the Comet just gives him his full sight. His team wakes up as well, and he's gonna take care of the Comet. And now we can focus on all the heavies on the Banana Street line here, who are already facing us because, well, they see us coming, basically. And this is very nice. The Comet is still alive, funnily enough, but I think he can just go forward here. And again, you know, a little bit of a risky move, but I think he did know what was going on. There was a lot of things on Banana Street. Tiger's 2 pins or doesn't pin our upper plate either. And we're just going to roll forward. And again, we're just going to be super hull down here. And this is a good map for the tank, don't get me wrong, right? It's a smaller map, and it is decent matchmaking as well. But just, you know, to give you guys an indication about how it plays. Get a little bit of a high roll there on the Sturi Emil. It was good focus fire, I'd say, just taking out the gun. 10 higher than usual. It is still a 390 alpha gun. The ye old 390 gun. And now we gotta be careful because this Tiger 2 will be aiming for Cupolas. But again, and that's kind of a funny thing with things like this, is that once you have somewhat of a weak spot like that is not too hard to hit, but people tend to then go for the weak spots instead of hitting for like center mass with gold, right? Which is, a lot of the times, is kind of in your favor. So we put another shot into the T-29, we're up to 4k damage. Now we're at 4,300 and the Tiger P is still bouncing us. We have to be careful here because, like, low health, the Tiger P can two-shot us. But here is Cupola sticking out, and that's an easy shot. And now we can just book it to the next street, basically. As the enemy team is, I don't know, there's a Scorpion here. That's the where I predicted the artillery would be. And then the SU, the SP1C, the Tiger 2 is still here. So we gotta be a little bit careful. And we're gonna side scrape off the building here. And Tiger 2 is not paying attention, so we shoot him in the side for an easy shot. Low roll a little bit, 370. And the Tiger 2 is now an awkward spot, and love we can clean him up. Behind us, though, is an S1 coming just as he goes around the corner here, so he has to really watch out. But the nice thing about these guns is that if you get lucky, you will overmatch that S1 any day of the week, right? Even the higher tiers, the tier 9 and the tier 10, will be overmatched with the 122, which is a nice advantage. And that was a really lucky shot. Like, let's be honest, that was like, 2 in 10 or something, something along those odds. And the KB5 is also going to be awkward here. But again, if the KB5 is not shooting APCR, your tank is a pretty solid against it. Like, he basically needs to high roll his AP shots to do anything, and we can just shoot his weak spots. The radio, basically radio tower in the front. You almost can't say it's a crewman anymore because he just dies every game. So how much are we up to? We're 5,530 damage now, and there's 3 tanks left here. And we're just gonna be cruising through the streets. You can see that the mobility, you know, it's alright. We're reaching about 35 kilometers of flat ground reliably as we wade through some stuff on the ground as well, which kind of slows you down. Ooh, and SU is still full health. That's very nice. And he's not even looking at us. He's actually just going for the Lova. And he reloads into heat. I'm not quite sure why, because he has 3 AP shots left, and all that's left is soft targets, like a Scorpion and an SU and the artillery. So if anything, HE would have maybe be kind of beams here. But the SU now turned around. You gotta be careful with the HE. Ooh! And we snapshot, SU snapshots, and nothing happens in the end. It's funny how quickly that SU actually managed to turn. And hopefully we can get another shot in, because we're doing some damage this game. 5,800 now. And again, this is obviously like a cherry-picked replay, but hopefully it's still informative just to, you know, kind of how it plays. Putting another shot into him, that's 6,224 damage in 5-10 matchmaking. We're literally killing almost everything. Can we get the top gun? Ooh, we get the lucky top gun as well. So, 6 kills now. A lot of damage done. Whole enemy team is dead. Artillery just dies to the W set. Or sorry, their artillery dies to our artillery, actually. From A0 to K1. So, yeah, let's just take a look here. You guys obviously want to see the post-game stats here. So let's just do that really quickly. So well played by Della Pietro. That's a kind of a funny name. I'm not sure if this is an NA or EU or something. I don't think I can actually see that. And then if you look at the score, it's a gigantic monster of a game. His team really didn't do much, and he just went to town. Even whilst losing a fair bit of health to the artillery. I think mostly this 500 damage was pretty much on the 112. And yeah, we made 152,000 credits, and he lost 62k credits due to ammo costs, and he also had a personal mission payout for 50k. So even after this ammo cost, he still would have made 100k, and I think he could have avoided some of this pricing because he loaded the heat against the couple of like endgame guys. But yeah, overall, I mean, this is a really sick game, right? If I played this game, it would have 100% be on YouTube as well. And you know, hopefully this kind of matchmaking with 510 whilst fighting tier 7s will be a little bit more common if the matchmaking ever changes. But yeah, just to reiterate what I think about the tank, I mean, the buffs are fairly minor, but probably noticeable if you play this tank a lot. Especially the aiming time looks good, and the aiming time dispersion are huge here. The 186 pen is still going to be awkward in a lot of situations, right? Because so many things had armor lately, that's actually nuts. So, but I can 100% say that this is probably a better tank in so many ways than the T-44 free, because you can actually, you know, you can actually peak without getting blown up, basically, because your hull is actually very strong compared to the T-44 free. And I don't actually think you lose that much mobility and that much gun handling to warrant all the things you get extra on the 112. So I think actually the 112 is in a lot better shape than the T-44 free by a pretty significant distance. Um, so yeah, can I recommend buying this now? I mean, I still think it's a little bit awkward just to recommend this tank. Um, but it's decent. All right, I'll say that it's decent. I like that it has 380 range. I like that it's fairly mobile, and it has 6 degrees of gun depression, which is just a little. It just makes it nice, right? 5 degrees is kind of an awkward gun depression value, but 6 degrees you can kind of, it's kind of nice. And the other thing that you have to keep in mind though is that 250 heat pen might sound like a nice shell, but in practice, I would have way, I would have loved it if it had APCR instead of heat. Now I know that Chinese tanks get heat like everywhere, like on the IS-2 as well, the tier 7. So I get that it's kind of like a Chinese meme where the Russians have lower pen APCR as a secondary shell, and the Chinese get their heat shells at 250. I personally feel like this is a really awkward pen on a really awkward shell. Um, so, don't just glance over this saying, oh, it has 250 premium pen, that's really nice. Because heat is going to screw you over so many times. And a lot of the new maps have so much destructible rubble as well, which you cannot shoot through with heat. So keep that in mind whilst you're thinking about buying this. I can't say that's a horrible tank, especially not after, after these buffs, but it got buffed a while ago as well. It's a decent tank. Hopefully this video will kind of like guide you in a direction of do you want to get it or not. It should also be in the in-game tech tree thing through gold, so you don't have to buy it as like a bundle, or you don't have to buy it with a garage slot if you already have it. So yeah, I think it's a decent tank. I don't hate it. I'm not absolutely in love with it either. So I'm kind of in the middle ground, but I'm curious what you guys think about this tank. And yeah, thanks a lot for tuning in as always. Maybe check out some of the other videos I've done on the other limited matchmaking tanks that have been buffed in patch 1.2 for World of Tanks. And yeah, I hope the matchmaking changes will come soon. I'm still betting Christmas at the earliest, but hey, we'll see. So yeah, question for you guys is, what do you guys think about the 112? And do you think these changes are enough or not? Let me know in the comment section below. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out, guys.